We're going to be in a butterfly guard in front of him. I'm going to grab above and below the knee. I'm going to take my right foot, in this case, and plant the heel. And then I'm going to extend my left leg and bring my hips in and get both my knees around his thigh. From there, I'm just going to take my left foot, go on his hip, and I have a single leg exhale, or not around. Okay? From here, what's going to happen is he's going to do something which we're going to talk a lot about, what he's about to do throughout the seminar today. He's going to do something which is, from his perspective, not really that smart. He's going to turn his knee, and he's going to point it towards my hips. Yeah, and don't fall down. So he's going to point his knee towards my hips. I'm going to take my right hand, grab his head, put my left foot to the floor, and I'm going to slightly elevate him off of my right shin. And see how he comes up? When his knee is pointed in, I can now take this leg, my left leg, around and then back in and lock up my legs and put him down. Okay, let's look at that again. So he's on one leg and one knee. Okay, I'm going to go above and below the knee. My right foot is going to be planted to give myself kind of like a base. Then I pull my hips in. Okay, so we're here. Grip. Pull my hips in. Make sure you get both your knees around the thigh. And then from there, my left foot goes over the top and we have a single leg exhale. I like to lock the position in place by having my left hand on my thigh here, cupping like this. Okay? Now from here, one thing that can happen is he points his knee in. From there, I'm going to grip his head with my hand. Don't grip the knee, grip the head. If you grip the knee, there's rolling Kimura counters. You grip the head. Now, I put my left foot to the floor. My right foot hooks around the back of his hamstring, and I bump him up. And now I can go around. Whenever we do a Kani Basami, guys, each leg serves a different purpose, okay? My right leg in this case is going to be what we call our frame leg, okay? My left leg is going to be my swivel leg, because it's going to swivel around his leg. Okay? You guys are going to hear me use these terms like pretty frequently throughout the seminar, okay? The purpose of the frame leg is to make sure that I don't get crushed, right? That's the goal of most frames, right? I don't want to get crushed as I do the move, okay? When I bump him up, you'll notice that my framing leg is between his chest and my chest. Okay, we'll come back to that later. Now my swivel leg, if I bump him up, my swivel leg is going to go around, and then it comes back in. And then I can make a triangle. You'll notice I didn't do this. I didn't make the triangle by extending my frame leg. That will make my frame basically disappear and then I get crushed. Okay, we don't want to do that. Okay? Instead, let's just go back. Instead what I do is I want to take my swivel leg to my frame leg, not my frame leg to my swivel leg. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah? Okay, good. And now I lock my legs, and from here we're just going to put him down to the mat. And we just got to tackle my box. Okay, one more time. So come over here. Alright guys, so we're here. We grip above and below the knee. Okay, you'll see. Look, I'm gripping above the knee like so, and I'm gripping fairly close to the ankle. My right heel is going to plant like this, so I kind of have like a pivot point in the mat for me to pull my hips in and extend my left leg. And I go into a single leg X like so. Okay, from here there's a ton of things we can do, obviously. We don't have to do a Kani Basami. But if he does turn into us, and this is something we're going to talk a lot about, if his knee is facing into our hips, okay, the Kani Basami is like a really strong option in those kinds of situations. The direction of his knee relative to our hips, this is something we're going to talk a lot about in the seminar today, is one of the main things we're always looking for when we're choosing which type of leg lock attack, which type of leg entanglement entry to go into, okay? So anyway, we're here in a situation where his knee is facing in towards my hips. If it's facing out, this is going to be a very different scenario, okay? But for now, it's facing in. I don't think you should ever do this. This is kind of dumb, but people will do this regardless. Okay? So you grab the head, put the foot down, we bump him up, and my swivel leg comes to my frame leg, not my frame leg to my swivel leg. Okay? And the foot of my frame leg stays tight to his hamstring. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah? Okay, yes. Any questions?
Yeah, but I saw your right hand was placed on Anthony's neck. Are you grabbing it down or you're just placing your
So if he's like, if his posture's tall, I'm not gonna like reach to try to grab his head. It would kind of be unrealistic. But if he's low, I would grab it and hold on to it. Yeah. Does that make sense?
You want his weight to be like lower down.
Well, I don't want this. I don't want him to like. So if I was here, I don't want like this. This would be bad, right? But if I am here, that's what I want, right? What I don't want is this. If he can bring his weight back, posture up. If he can bring his weight back, I can't really bump him forward, and then I can't go into the move. So if I can grab his head, right, I can bump him and get his weight like moving forward. Does that make sense? But this is why I have my frame leg, right? So my right leg here, see how my right knee's in his chest? When he comes towards me, I can use that as a frame, right? So even though, yes, I'm pulling him, I still have my knee preventing his chest from getting to my chest, right? Whereas, so for instance, if I were to go, yeah, this is bad. Yeah, now I'm getting crushed. I just pulled myself into a really bad situation. But as long as your frame leg is properly situated, you're not in too much danger. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. So we're here again. And if you can't, like, if he's posturing up really high, I wouldn't like try to, this doesn't really make sense. Like I'm not gonna like try to grab his head here. That's not really feasible, right? It's only if, this is a very basic type of entry, right? Assuming that the person makes like a series of mistakes, but these are common mistakes people will do, right? You'll get people here, they don't really know how to defend leg locks well. Their first instinct is, oh, let me try to just crush this guy. Yeah, you're gonna see this all the time, you know? Even at very high levels, you'll see this in ADCC. Like guys don't really know how to defend. Kani Basami will just try to crush the guy here. Yeah, and then that'll happen. So, yeah. Does that make sense? As long as you have your frame leg, you know, acting properly as a frame, it's okay. Just don't pull them like, you would have to intentionally sabotage your frame, right? Like if I open up my knee here, yeah, that's not very good. Make sense? Yeah, okay, good. Any other questions, guys?
Go on, question. So I noticed this leg, you go from the middle and you go that way.
Yeah.
Is that to make it lighter?
Yeah, so I'm taking my foot and I'm going from like the center to this hamstring. Yeah, it's because I want to like bump him that way, right? If I'm here, I can't really bump him the way that I want to. Yeah, so I'll put my foot underneath this hamstring to bump him more effectively. Yeah, does that make sense? Yeah, good question. Yeah, so if I'm here, it'll start like in a standard single leg X. My foot will start underneath this hamstring, right? But if it were to stay there and I bump him, like it's not really taking him the direction I want. I want him to go that way, right? So I'll switch the butt that it's underneath, right? But if I go here on a single leg X, if I'm underneath, so now it's underneath this butt, I can't close the distance between my left heel and my right knee. So there's space here. And the major issue with that are like, there are counters. Do you know what an AOP lock is? Yeah, don't do it hard. Yeah. Connect your hands. He can AOP lock me there, right? So, whereas if my foot is underneath this glute, I can close off this space. And now it's much more difficult for him to do an AOP lock on me, right? But if he's like coming towards me, if he's here, he can't do an AOP lock. Well, first of all, my foot's not on his hips, so he couldn't do it. Even if my foot wasn't, right? Like, he can't do it if his weight's coming forward, right? So, does that make sense? Yeah, so at first it's here, because that's what you need for the single leg X to work, and then for the Kani Basami, it'll go here, because that's what you need for the Kani Basami. Make sense? Yeah, good question. Any other questions, guys? If not, let's get started. 1, 2, 3. All right, guys, so now, okay, so now we're going to do the move using our hands to assist what we're doing, okay? So we're going to start off in exactly the same way. We enter into single leg X. From here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my right hand, go underneath the leg, then I'm going to take my left hand and go underneath and get a scoop grip, putting his ankle onto my shoulder like so. Okay, now from here, we're going to be able to use our hands to assist the move more effectively than we could before. Okay, where I'm going to bump him up. And now let's say that keep the foot flat. Let's say that we're here, okay, and I have to go into a reverse X. What I can do is I can take my right hand and grab the knee here, and then my left hand is going to grab the other knee, like so. Now I can shoot the left leg in and wrap him up. Okay. What we just did was we created a situation where my left hand is gripping the back of the knee, and the knee is still facing, it's not directly into my hips, but it's facing towards my hips, okay? If his knee is facing towards my hips, no, this is fine what it is. If his knee is facing towards my hips like so, right? And I can grab the knee, what I can do is I can hold the knee in place so that now if he realizes, oh, I made a mistake, I shouldn't have been facing my knee in that direction, it's going to be more difficult for him to face the knee out, right? Now, let's be very clear, guys. We're going to talk about this a lot today. There's a big difference between keeping a knee facing in towards your hips and forcing a knee to face in towards your hips. If his knee is facing out, with one hand, it's really hard to force that knee into my hips, okay? Anthony just let me do it because he's being nice, but in real life, like that's like really hard, okay? If a knee is facing out with one hand to get the knee to face in, that's very, very difficult, okay? But if the knee's already facing in, grabbing it and keeping it there is a very different thing. That's much more achievable, okay? So, just there, here, yeah. Okay, so again, guys, we're gonna bump him forward. I'm gonna go to the reverse X, and then my right hand's gonna go here, like so. Okay, we always wanna make sure, I'm never gonna like let go of this leg to just go after this leg, right? I wanna always control both legs. Okay, so my right hand goes where my left hand once was, so that my left hand is free to grab the other leg. Okay, and again, I am not forcing the knee to face into my hips. I'm maintaining the direction of the knee such that it cannot, or I should say it's more difficult for him to point it out. Okay, if he points it out, now, now it's going to be really difficult for my swivel leg to get around his thigh. Okay, if he points the knee in, see how immediately now I can just draw back in? Right? That makes a big, big difference with Kani Basami. That's one of the single biggest things you can understand about what makes a Kani Basami work. Okay? And again, if we get to this situation and we see, okay, you feel the knee, it's not pointing all the way out. You want to jump on that right away. You want to grip the back of the knee. So now, if he decides to try to point it out, it's going to be a lot harder. You can hold it, and you can make the move work. Okay? Now from here, it's a slightly different situation, but it's pretty similar. Take your left arm, go around the ankle, grab your far shoulder, hold here, and just, you bump them down very similarly. Take your left leg, go into your ankle, okay? Foot to ankle, and now we put them down. Okay? Now, let's rotate. This way. Now guys, when we land here, keep going. Guys, when we land here, we are in a really strong position to start immediately looking for heel hooks, okay? From here, what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna keep this arm gripping my far shoulder. I'm gonna reach through, I'm gonna grip his ankle, pull it up, and now my left elbow is gonna strike his toes. I'm not just gonna go like this. This can work if he's not doing anything to defend, right? But if they're better, yeah, if he's hiding his heel, you'll never get him like that, okay? Instead, what we essentially want to do is strike the toes, to push the toes back, to then catch the heel. Does that make sense, guys? So look at what I'm doing with my elbow, guys. I push the toes back, and see how the heel is projected outward for me? Then you can wrap it up. Versus if I'm here, see? No good. Push the toes back, then you can catch much more effectively, and you can get the heel. Okay, make sense, guys? Yeah? All right, let's look at the whole thing one more time. So this time, we're going to go with a scoop grip, and that's going to give us the ability to use our left hand to reach to the back of his knee to do a hand assist Kani Basami, which is going to make it a little bit easier to make sure his knee's pointing in, right? Something I'm sure you guys have been thinking is like, okay, we want the knee facing in, how can we, like what if he knows that and he just points it out? Yeah, well, yeah, that's going to be something we're focused a lot on preventing, okay? So we're here, I come in. The first move we did, I showed that on the assumption that the guy doesn't know to point his knee out, right? Which a lot of people, they're not going to, okay? So I'm here. Sometimes you can just punch the hand right under. Sometimes, if the foot's more planted like this, I think it's helpful to grip here, pull, and then you have more of an angle to get this hand underneath, okay? Now I go here, I bump him up, like so. We go reverse X, Now from here you grip this leg, then you grip the other leg. Okay, try to get a good grip behind the back of the knee. Okay, now we shoot our left leg through, draw it in, grip the far shoulder. Now my foot's gonna go to my ankle. What this does is it makes it more difficult for him to curl this leg in, which is one thing that he would want to do to start being able to crush me. And the second thing, so like if I go here, see how that comes closer to me? Here, he can curl it in, right? I go here, it's closer to me. The other thing is that now I can push my left foot into my right ankle to put him down. So he comes back up. If he's here, my left foot goes into my right ankle. I can push into that foot to bring his hips down. Okay, does that make sense, guys? Yeah, so I push him down, like so. And I want to keep the control at hand. This is a good series of grips to now start attacking him from. Okay, I hold here nice and tight. I'm going to reach through, grip the ankle, and pull it into your armpit. Pull it up as high as you can get it. Now here, we're not just going like this. This is bad. Okay, I want to push the toes back. Don't worry too much about don't worry too much about where am I hitting, like what part of my arm is hitting. It could be your armpit, it could be your elbow. It's not really that important. What's important is that you hit the toes. So I'm not going into the heel here. I'm going into the toes to push the toes back, and then we catch the heel. Okay? And when you catch, for now actually, let's catch with a football grip like so. Okay, with one hand. Okay, we're not going to finish. We'll do that later. But for now, let's grip like so. The advantage of this grip is it's going to be harder for him to heel slip. Okay? This kind of a grip, ultimately this is what we're going to do to finish. It would be a little easier for him to heel slip. If I grip like this, that's going to be more difficult. Okay? Make sense, guys? All right, let's give it a try. 1, 2, 3.